Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first installment of What the Phenomenon, the podcast which shines the light on the subject of UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. But before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name's Aaron, and I live in the United Kingdom. I've had an interest in the UFO phenomenon for quite a long time, and recently my interest has peaked as I've had more time on my hands to look into the subject, and not to mention the congressional hearings in the US. For quite some time, in more than 50 years with Project Blue Book. So I've created this podcast in order to do my part and lift the stigma on the topic, as it's being proven more or less each day that the technology being observed by high-ranking military and government officials is not ours and defies our understanding of modern-day physics. So my goal with the podcast is to allow others to come forward and share their stories and evidence, and we'll also be covering some of the latest news, and you never know, I may be collaborating with others on the subject, but that's just out of reach at the current time. This piece is just short and sweet in order to get some ground on what this podcast is about and what I plan to do with it. So with that all being said, the podcast will be a few uploads a month. I'm really new to podcasting. This is my first ever podcast, and I'm literally just in the sort of space of setting it all up. So I just want to do it as a hobby, and if it starts to gain any traction, build a community as such, I'll consider looking at a potential schedule. But with my days off at work, this is what I'm going to be focusing on more or less. So feel free to subscribe on whatever platform you may be using to listen to this. At the moment, the podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. However, if there is a demand for other applications, which, to be fair, I doubt there will be, I'll consider adding the podcast to those as well. If you'd like to contact me to be on the podcast or to submit anything, any questions, any video, whatever you have, feel free to do so at WhatThePhenomenon@gmail.com. I do not have any other form of contact, so please get in touch with me through that email. It'll be in the description, just in case if you don't know how to spell phenomenon, because I had a bit of trouble spelling it as well. Again, thanks guys, and I'll speak to you soon.